Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV and we're back adventuring into the world of Windows tablets once again, this time with the Asus T100 transformer. Let's take a look at this little guy here. What's nice about these Windows tablets is that the processors are getting better and better, and these things are running real Windows. It's not running, the RT version or some scaled down tablet thing. It is running actual Windows. If you have Windows software that will run on a desktop or a larger notebook PC, it will also run on here. Maybe not as well, but for a lot of applications, you may not need more than that. So this is it. It looks like a laptop when you first take a look at it, but it's got this little latch here, and you can somehow coax it out of there. It's a little hard to get out. So you want to probably grab it with two hands and not do a demo when you do it. But this is the tablet component. This is where most of the hardware is located, and then this is a keyboard dock, and we'll cover this hardware in a little bit. Let's take a look though. On the front here, it's got a beautiful screen. I'm really impressed with the color quality and just the overall resolution of the screen. It is not a Retina screen like you'd have on the iPad or one of those really high resolution screens we're seeing on some other tablets, but it is really nice, and I've been very happy with how it looks. This is it, running the desktop right now on Windows 8.1. On the side here, you've got the home button. So when you push that button, you get brought back to the start menu, which is a point of consternation for some, but that's how you get to it. On a lot of other Windows tablets, the button is here in the center. However, when you're in the dock, it's hard to get at that. So I think they put it on the side here. It's a little hard to see just because of the contrast, but there's also a volume rocker up and down here. The sleep button is on the top, so you push that when you want to put the tablet to sleep. There's a little microphone over here. On this side, you've got a card slot, so you can use those little micro SD cards. You can pop one of those in there to expand your storage. This particular model has 64 gigabytes of storage and 2 gigabytes of memory, so it's about on par with what I've seen for other Windows 8.1 tablets out there. Down here you've got three ports. HDMI is right here, so you can plug that into your television, and it can pump out 1080. I was able to do that earlier, and it works really well. You have a USB port here for charging and a headphone jack. And I should say that when you charge it, it does take a while. There's a pretty big battery in here. I found the battery life to be really good. I haven't charged it at all today. We're probably looking at about 9:30 p.m. now. I was using it off and on all day, lightly, not really all that heavily, but I still have about probably about 65% or so left in the tank, and actually 73%. And I've been playing with it, actually plugging it into my TV and whatnot. It's pretty impressive that it's been able to stay alive as long as it has. So, so that's the hardware. It's got a camera on board here as well. So if you want to do a web call with somebody, Skype call or whatever, you can do that. The camera's right there. The only thing I noticed is that the little light that lights up when you're on a call isn't that bright. So I know there's been some issues with people concerned that maybe somebody broke into their computer and started activating the webcam, and you really got to look to see if that light is on. So it would be nice if it was a little bit brighter, but that's a minor gripe. So this is the dock section, and this is the keyboard thing, and you get a couple more ports, or actually one more port on here. You get a USB 3.0 port, so you have a high-speed USB on there, and you can plug in a hub and get a little bit more connectivity out of that, which is nice. But that's it for ports. So most of the ports are on here, but you do get that full-blown USB port when the tablet's connected. It makes a nice sound too when it connects. You can hear it. Clicks right in there. It stays in there really well, so it feels nice. I mean, it doesn't feel as good as perhaps a laptop that is built to have this hinge on it, but it's really close. It latches on really securely. Because most of the hardware guts are in the screen, it is a little back heavy. Normally on a notebook computer, your hardware is in here and the screen is just the screen. This is the opposite, so it's a little back heavy, but it's not bad. It stays pretty firm on the desk. I actually like the way it feels on the desk better when it's locked down, because if all 4 feet grab, when the thing is open, the hinge here kind of props up the keyboard a little bit, which does make it a little bit more comfortable to type on, but it does slide around a little bit more than it would otherwise. I'm not crazy about the keyboard. The keyboard has the chiclet style keys that we saw on netbooks back in the day, so I'm a little disappointed with that. I would have liked to have seen larger keys, maybe move the keyboard up a little bit or something so that we could get a normal size keyboard. So that's a disappointment. It's a little hard to type. I always get angry and aggravated when there's a small shift on this side, just because I'm typically hitting the shift key with my right hand, and a lot of times I hit the arrow here because I'm used to having larger shift keys. So I'm a little bit upset about that. The trackpad is decent. It's not perfect, but it works well. I disabled a lot of the gestures that It has on it by default, you know, like if you just tap it without pushing it down, it would actually do a mouse click. So I disabled that and got going there. So pretty good though. I mean, I've found it's passable, it's usable, but I'm not very comfortably typing on it. So I was not too happy about the keyboard. And that's one of the problems with this, is that you really don't have a choice. You could, of course, get a Bluetooth keyboard, but it would be nice to have maybe a couple different keyboard layouts to choose from, but I'm getting picky here. So that is that part. Now, what I've really been impressed with is the performance on this thing. Now, this is not running, you know, an i7 processor or something higher end, but you can run Portal on it, which is a great game from Valve. I did try to run some other games on it as well. Wait for this thing to load up real quick. I ran a Kerbal Space Program and a couple other things, and Kerbal actually ran. Kerbal is a great space game that I've really been enjoying playing. It's pretty hardware intensive. It's a lot of physics and a lot of you know, really large-scale graphics that it has to contend with. And I turned down a lot of the settings, and it actually ran, you know, not well. It ran at a pretty crappy frame rate, but it did run. So I think we can say that you can do a little bit of gaming on this thing. And we can just start a new game real quick here, and we'll just pop into this chamber here, and you can just see what the gaming performance is. Now, this is an older game, so it's, you know, maybe not indicative of newer stuff that might be out there, but you can get a sense though. The frame rate's pretty decent. I mean, we're getting a little bit of clipping here, so you know, I could probably tweak the settings a little bit more, but you know, I'm really actually impressed that you can, you know, game with a real PC game on this thing. It's really pretty slick. So not bad for that. So that's a pretty neat little feature. There's also the Windows 8 games available for it too. So if we pop back into our menu here, let me go down. You know, I'm not going to talk a lot about Windows 8. Either like it or you don't like it. I am kind of in the middle, but it's frustrating because I can never find what I'm looking for, and it's such a pain to get stuff into the top menu, and we could do a whole show on that. But I did download somewhere one of the tablet games for this thing. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. I'm sorry. Okay, I had to hunt around for this game, but I found it. So let's take a look at it real quick. Here it is, Asphalt 8. This is a tablet game, so you know, it may not. Whoa, that's loud. Let me turn down the volume here real quick, but you can see it runs pretty good. I mean, it's not bad at all. Now, granted, this is written for tablets, so let's see if we can get into a game here. I did the demo of it, so just to see how it works here. So we'll just do a quick race real quick and see how the graphics look on it. So we'll do a career here, and we'll do this one, and we'll go to next and start the race. So you know, it works quite well. And granted, this is running an Intel Atom processor, so it's not, you know, it's a little bit more powerful than you'd have on some other things. This is also a quad-core processor, so it has a little bit more horsepower than you might see in some other things too. So, and you know what we're going to do real quick? I'm going to plug this into. Let me play it here first so you can see how it runs. So I'm using the keyboard now, so it works with this game in particular works with keyboard controls. But it runs pretty smoothly. You know, it's impressive. You know, again, it's not surprising. This is a game that's running on tablets, usually with much slower processors, so it's able to do that. But I'm going to try real quick, and this is going to be a real experiment here. I'm going to plug this into my HDMI and run it through our video switcher here and see how it works when we're going out to 1080. So here we are. I'm going to try to drive it here, and you see the frame rate. Now I just crashed my car, so but the frame rate's pretty good, and this is pumping out at 1080, 1080i in this case. But you know, I would imagine it would probably work okay in 1080p as well. Now the one thing to keep in mind with this and many other Windows tablets of this class is that they have these 16:9 displays, which are very wide displays. So it looks nice when you're in the landscape mode, but one of the things that I found is that when you do pop it out and go into the portrait mode, is that it gets a little bit hard to look at it because, you know, it becomes very very long, and you don't have a lot of width here. And you know, they try to compensate for it. You know, it'll shrink the page down, so you have to kind of scroll around a little bit. But I've often found it just feels a little odd to me just to have this much height but not that much width, and you have to do a lot more of this kind of scrolling around. The iPad and other screens with 4:3 displays, you know, are useful in almost both orientations, that you can, you know, kind of rotate it this way and have a useful screen, and also look at it in portrait mode pretty usefully also. So, you know, it's a matter of taste, I suppose. I mean, I've just often found it hard to use these tablets in this orientation, and I'm finding I get less text on the screen when I'm in the landscape orientation. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So you might be wondering, is this a good replacement for a computer or even a tablet? And I get a lot of calls from people who are thinking about dumping their computer completely and going to an iPad with a keyboard. And for some people, that might work just fine. However, I found that keyboards on iPads just don't go that well together. They didn't design the iPad to work with a keyboard or mouse. So things like productivity applications, word processing, and the like, really do better on a computer. Whether it's a Chromebook or a netbook or a small Ultrabook or something, or one of these, this thing was designed to be a Windows computer with a mouse and a keyboard that is somewhat integrated with the operating system. And what's nice is that when you want a tablet, you can just pop it off and get the tablet functionality. It doesn't have all the apps that the iPad has. I think the iPad does tablet better than Windows does tablet, but this thing does computer better than Windows. And for a kid in school, I think this is a great option. I mean, if you were looking at this and an iPad and a Chromebook, this might be the best option because it can be used offline without a lot of complications, has a decent keyboard. It comes with the Asus version of this is the one we're reviewing today, comes with Microsoft Office. It comes with the Home and Student Edition, so you get Word, Excel, and PowerPoint and OneNote. So really, for under $400, you get a really complete, full-blown PC that doubles as a tablet, and it's really inexpensive and powerful and good battery life and all that. So I think this is a great tablet. I think this is a great value, and I think if your needs match up what you saw here, then this is a good choice. It might be a really good thing to, especially to get for a child in school. So I recommend it if it meets your criteria. I'm still, really have a preference for the iPad on the tablet side, but as a computer, this is a really nice, inexpensive, and very functional computer. This is Lon Seidman. Thanks for watching.